Guys, it's Dave from Flash and Dance DJ Service. Hope everybody's new year is going good so far. It's great to see a lot of the videos that are out there from New Year's Eve. I went out this morning and returned the van that I borrowed from my brother-in-law for New Year's Eve, and returned the lighting that I used, which was I rented in the MX4 by Martin, and I rented in an Atomic Strobe by Martin, and an NSI. The company is also really known by Leviton, but NSI got bought out by Leviton, so I rented in an NSI MLC16, which is the moving light controller from them, and a few little odds and ends. And I'll tell you, if you guys seen my video that I have up there, the little 10-minute snip that I have from New Year's Eve, it was unbelievable what I did with these lights. They got a lot of compliments on them. I also used my Elon, my Derby X, my color strips, threw those in for some good measure for some colors, and they were there. Did some ambient mixing throughout the night, did some titling on the ambient mixes, so I really got to see, because I have a projector and a screen, so I got to see the full potential of what VJ can do, because I'm thinking about getting into the music videos, which a lot of people are doing now, and I also had a slideshow going when people were first arriving for the first hour or so. I had a slideshow rotating of different pictures for 2011. Let's see. As far as tips and advice I can give for the new guys and the experienced guys out there, there's a website called timeanddate.com. Basically, when you go to the website, depending upon where you are, that's what you get on the screen. I'm going to zoom in here. Let me just close this out. I'm going to zoom in here. That's what you get on the screen. Okay. What I'll do is either in the bottom, in the description of the video, I'll put the what mine is. It's countdown to New Year 2012 and UTC, Universal Time Calendar, I believe it is. And that basically will allow you, no matter where you are in the world, I know that like let me see, what's his name there, Alaskan Skins, he says over in Europe that they use Big Ben. Well, over here in the US, for those of you who may or may not know, we use the NYC Ball, the actual, a lot of people use the Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve show to do the ball drop. I actually use the countdown to the New Year, UTC, that's how I did mine. And just like Alaskan Skin said in his, that you can do your ball drop, but then somebody else come up to you and say, oh, you're late, you're early. And unfortunately, the UTC calendar is early, but for where I am, it was early by not even a minute. It was maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds early, but that isn't a big deal. I still did the countdown like normal, but when I finished mine, I had to just basically, I was playing because I knew it could be early, so I played the Kenny G Millennium mix of Old Lang Syne, and then when somebody ran up and told me, I said, okay, I'll do it in 2 seconds. So I went and found Guy Lombardo's version, and then I actually did the real countdown. That I said, this goes along with the Dick Clark one, and a friend of mine gave me a thumbs up. He was standing out in the hallway, and he gives me a thumbs up saying, hey, we did it right on time. So either way, it worked. So that was the big thing. You do screw up. There's nothing you can do about it. There are New Year's Eve events that you're going to do that point blank, nothing goes right and everything goes wrong, and then there's other ones that you'll do and everything will be perfect and you won't have any problems with it. And so far, knock on wood, I've only done 4 New Year's Eve events, and last year's went good. Nobody said anything to me, only because they didn't have a TV or anything. At this event this year, they had a TV, so that's how they knew. If we could have done the TV hookup like we had wanted to, we wouldn't have had that issue. I would have had a small TV, seen what was going on TV, and then I would have switched it over, so that way everybody could have seen it. But we we couldn't do that. So maybe that's an idea for next year. As far as everything else, I got a lot of events that are booked. I'm actually starting to work for a hotel. This coming Wednesday, I start working for a hotel. Wednesday through Saturday nights. I'll be taking my new iFlip along with me. I will show you guys the place before I set up. I'll show you the setup when I'm done. And you'll see, it's a very simple setup. 10-foot truss with, I set it up today just to make sure. I'm doing 2 strobes, 2 Techno strobes 2000s. I'm doing 2 color strips. I'm going to do my Elon and my Derby Yaks. And then there's a couple other odds and ends. A friend of mine has an American DJ Club Laser. It's the emerald green one, which is pretty nice. I'm probably gonna borrow that. He's actually he's letting me build cases for a bunch of his lights, so I'm gonna probably be using that. He's also got some Odyssey intelligent mirrors. They're barrel mirrors. I don't know what the series of them are, but I've used those before. They were pretty nice. He also had the American DJ Saturn series lights. So he's got quite a few, so I can actually be able to adjust them. I want to stay in the DMX stuff only because it looks nicer. It does a lot more. It has a lot more capabilities. And other than that, the only other thing I'm going to say is, no matter if you're a beginner or an old school guy, one thing I would say is that as far as DMX lighting goes, a lot of guys don't want to get into it, but they do it because they need it. One thing I would say is computer is an easy way to do it, but that makes it more complicated though, because you have a lot more work you have to do. To me, using a controller versus using a computer is easier. I find being able to set my lights up, program ahead of time with my board. I can then, because of the particular kind of system I use, I can actually save it on a floppy. So I actually have the floppy of my show from New Year's Eve. So from this year forward, I can actually dump that show back into the board, and I can reuse that show over and over again. And everybody's going to say, yeah, but it's programmed into the board, isn't it? Yeah, it's programmed in, but it's a rental board. It's not a board that I keep in stock, because the board is almost $2,000. And I know a lot of people saying, what? Yeah, any good quality lighting console that's out there is going to cost you $1,000 plus. And it's not, if you're not a guy like me, I'm a mobile guy. That takes up too much room. The footprint of the thing is at least 3 feet by 5 feet, so it's pretty big. And the case it comes in is pretty big. It's like 6 feet wide by like 4 feet tall, so it's a pretty big case that it comes in. And even though I have a Durango, it's still not everything fits. That's the way it goes. So you just have to plan things out. So with that said, I want to say practice and enjoy. Hope you enjoyed the few tips that I gave you. Another thing, as far as another tip I can give the new guys that are out there, make sure you put in your contract for New Year's Eve that you eat. That's a biggie. A lot of guys who go out and do New Year's Eve, they don't eat. They bring their own food in. Make sure you put, if you're not using a contract, you should change over to using a contract, and in your contract put New Year's Eve event food, that you need to get food, only because you're going to be there for a long amount of hours. Me personally, I go in the day before. I set everything up the day before, so that's on me. But then the next day, on New Year's Eve day, I get in my thing, if I wanted to, I could put in 6 meals if I wanted to in my contract, because the facility is supposed to pay for those, but I don't do that. I only have them give me 1 meal. And actually, they give me 2 usually. They give me usually around 6-7 o'clock meal, which is the main meal that they're gonna have, and then they usually ahead of time, like around 11 o'clock or so, they bring me a plate of chips, and they usually will bring me a plate of a couple like finger sandwiches that they're gonna put out at midnight. So that's another tip that I can offer for you guys, is that get food in your contract for those. So other than that, there's nothing else that hasn't been said already. So with that said, I'm going to say practice and enjoy, and I will see you guys this Wednesday.